Welcome to Or Something Like That,
the podcast where you can talk shit with your besties.
We're your hosts, Sam
and Hollis. Be sure to follow us on social and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if you love us, give us that 5-star review.
One, two, three, four.
Hello.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
If it looks different, then I feel like something's wrong. Like, don't do that.
Just pulling up the old outline.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering how everyone is doing with the never-ending supercell.
So many storms. And, I mean, I complain because I'm like, oh, the rain. But there's been really bad storms around.
It's been horrible.
Really, a lot of people have died.
Tornadoes.
Yeah.
I mean, and is this... I don't remember. Is it climate change? Because I don't remember it being like this.
No, it definitely is climate change.
We've always had the threat of tornadoes, just like living in the Midwest. That's always kind of been a thing in this area. And I do feel like particularly where we live, we're a little more protected because we're in like the only hilly part of Indiana, which helps. And we have the lake, which I think helps break stuff up. But yeah, I mean...
They're definitely more severe.
Yeah, I don't remember the South being, like, ravaged.
No,
like
I mean, the South never used to get tornadoes. It was like, they got hurricanes and that's it. And
it's
now,
like, Tennessee is fucked.
Oh my gosh, Tennessee has it really bad.
Yeah.
I know. It does really feel like
Texas?
we're in a safe enclave here.
I
wonder
know.
how long that will last.
I have never been happier to live where I live. I mean, in terms of natural disasters, it's something I feel like we grew up complaining about. Like, oh, we live in this, like...
Tornado Alley.
Well, and we live in this small town in the Midwest. We have no beach.
Yeah.
We have nothing cool in terms of, like, our location geographically.
Yeah.
And now I'm, like, thrilled.
Right, yeah.
I'm never leaving.
I know, at least we're not making an insurance claim every year that
There's
our
no
house
hurricane.
has been destroyed. Yeah. I know. No, it's scary, and it feels like every year it just gets worse and worse, and everybody just sits by and is like, huh. Isn't that crazy? And then all these really bad storms are happening.
I have kind of a funny story because my husband is one of those people that, and people always joke about people from the Midwest are like standing out on their porches, just watching the tornadoes and stuff, which is kind of true. I mean, we are used to it. We have been dealing with storms and tornadoes our whole lives. But my husband is very much like not concerned. Like, it's fine. And this last one, actually it was Sunday, and yeah, it was like, okay, storms are coming in, we had the tornado watch, and I usually have to be basically like dragging my husband to the basement, and it's one of those things that before we had kids, we didn't go to the basement. You just kind of keep an eye on things, and maybe one time before we had kids, I was like, I'm going to the basement, you know? But once you have kids, it's just different.
Right.
Because they can get scared. And also, it's like you just take the precaution.
You have to set a good example.
Yeah, I mean, you just do. And especially now that things are crazy with it. But we got home, kind of settled into our Sunday afternoon. And I'm like, okay, there's a tornado watch. And I get the alerts from the county. So I get text messages or emails with updates. So I got the text message from the county. I'm like, oh, it's a warning. I'm like, okay. Then we got the National Weather Service one, which sounds like an Amber Alert. It's like the sound, you know, when your phone goes...
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It really startles.
And I was like, oh, shit, okay. So I go and I'm getting clothes and shoes on the kids. And as I'm like getting them ready, he had gone out the front door and came around to the side door, and he opens the side door and he goes, come on, we gotta go.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh no, because he's never like that.
Yeah.
And I could hear and kind of see behind him when he opened the door. It blew in so quick. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So we go down to the basement, and like it was fine, but it was just... I've never seen him, never in our 10 years of being together has he ever been like, come on, we gotta go.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
oh, straight up from Twister.
It was Twister. He was giving Bill Paxton for sure. He was like, come on. So, yeah, I mean, and it was fine. It blew in quick and heavy, and it was, I think there was rotation spotted in Smithville, which is like about a mile kind of southwest of us. So, I mean, it was right there in our area. And then normally I have time to get the cat. When there's a watch, put the cat carrier out by the door so that if a warning pops up, I just throw the cat in the cat carrier. I didn't have time this time. We were in the basement, and my 5-year-old was like, what about Nugget? And I was like, well, he knows what to do. Like, it'll be okay. And we have chickens. So right now we have chicks in the house in a brooder. And she was like, what about the chicks? And I was like, well, to be honest, they're in the loft. So, like, they're probably goners if something happens. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
this is your first lesson in death.
Yeah. So the first thing she did when we got back in the house is she ran upstairs to the chicks. She did a lap around the house till she found Nugget. And then she comes in and she goes, the pets are not dead. I was like, all right, good. We all made it. Everything's fine.
That's the announcement you wanted. Our pets' heads aren't falling off.
That's right. So, anyway, we've been in the basement 3 times in the last week, I would say.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of storms. Yeah, that one, I was here in my apartment, and I was like, this might be the first time I have to
go into
the bathroom. Yeah. I mean, it did. It came and went really quick.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But that one, the clips from those ones in Texas.
Oh my gosh.
Are insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just
I
like.
don't remember ever really hearing about tornadoes in Texas.
No, I feel like that's
it's pretty flat out there in like western Texas where it's like deserty. So like maybe, but I don't know.
didn't think Tornado Alley went that south. And I feel like they get a lot of flooding now too. So.
Yeah.
No, we're safe. We're all going to die.
I know. We're just on a rock flying through space and nothing
I mean,
matters.
it does. Storms like that really do bring you back down to earth and make you realize, like, we're just on a planet.
I know.
You know, like, we're so stuck in our own realities, but the one true reality is, like, this is just a rock.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's full of magma and stuff happens. I sound really smart.
It's always the magma in the end.
Magma will always prevail.
Yes, it will. Magma over quicksand for sure. It's the magma that's going to get you, not the quicksand.
Yeah. Kids, let this be a lesson to you.
That's right. The quicksand lessons you learned as a child, irrelevant. It's the magma.
Yeah, look out for the magma. Magma. Oh, man.
The other thing I've realized is this weekend with all the storms and the rain, we couldn't really do anything. So it's like, what am I going to do this weekend? So on one hand, I aged like 15 years because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a ham. I'm going to make a ham this weekend. And I'm like, who am I that this is my plan for the weekend is to make a ham? What am I, my grandmother? Like, I'm making a ham. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome.
So I did. And
I love too that you're just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Fuck it. I'm making a ham. Why not?
Everyone's telling me not to, but you know what? I'm going to live my life.
That's right. So I did, and it was delicious. And then on the other hand, I've turned the clock back 15 years because I finally figured out TikTok.
Nice.
And I'm fully in.
Did you?
I like it.
Did you film your ham?
I did not film my ham. I'm just beginning to dabble in creation, but I figured out how to use it as a viewer.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and my algorithm is algorithming.
Yeah.
And I'm in.
That's it for you.
At first, I didn't get it. I was very millennial about it. I didn't understand it. I wasn't into it. I've put the work in a little bit now.
Yeah.
And I'm in.
And it's really grooving for you?
It's grooving.
Nice.
I like it better than Instagram.
Well, you know, this is your entire life now, TikTok.
I know. I'm a TikTok.
That's the reason I didn't get it, because I was like, I know I'll like it, and then I'll just spend all of my time on TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't.
I haven't found that I'm spending more time on social media because of it.
Good.
I do have
You probably have more self-control than I do.
Yeah. Well, and I have kids.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's like, oh yeah, I'm an adult with responsibilities.
I only have certain pockets of time anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'm going to spend time on social media, I think it's there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's wildly popular for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm not going to be one of those people that's out here like, TikTok is the news media. Like, no, nobody should be getting their news from TikTok. But I do feel like, just in a quick comparison to Instagram, there are just a lot more people out there talking about things in a way that sparks conversation and dialogue that you don't really find so much on Instagram. You know what I mean?
I've heard it's a more positive place.
It is.
Like, it's a much more positive atmosphere.
And it feels more, depending on your algorithm and what you like or what you're searching, it's like, oh, this is a smart person talking about something.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I think there's more... There's a little more depth and like a little more...
It's not as like superficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, believe me, you can find the superficial stuff if you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just with anything else. But you can also find intellectual TikTok if you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's a little more maybe important dialogue going on.
Yeah, and I know that you can do video on Instagram, but I think the video aspect, allows for people to more clearly express themselves.
Yeah.
And like go deeper, talk more. Instagram is like, I know you can sort of do
Instagram
that, but
is-
as it started, it became so superficial. I feel like it's
Yeah.
hard to like come back from that.
Yeah, and I think it depends on your algorithm, and it depends on what you're looking at, and it depends on, you can kind of make it what you want, which I don't feel that way about Instagram so much. And I do feel like, just based on how I've kind of curated my algorithm on TikTok, is it doesn't feel as influencer-y.
Yeah.
That's not to say that it's not as a
Right.
whole and that they're not out there, but if you're not seeking that out, I don't know, it's almost like I can't get out of it on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it's because Instagram is so ad heavy now.
Yeah.
That's how everything feels.
Yeah.
Now. It's become monetized, and so influencers, it is a job. Like they are
Right.
influencers to make money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So everything starts
Right.
to feel like an ad.
Yeah.
It's just like, ugh.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, the best example I can really come up with is, when we were talking about the Vanity Fair stuff in the interview with Meg Thee Stallion. That's where I was able to go and get opinions of people talking about what happened. You can't really do that on Instagram, you know,
Right.
but I was able to go and listen to Black women talking about it and get their opinion on things, where it's like Instagram doesn't really provide that.
Yeah.
And
Is
so,
there a time limit on videos on TikTok?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Either.
But yeah, I don't know. It's better, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Awesome. Well, I'm glad it's back.
yeah,
Or didn't disappear. Whatever happened there, that little blip.
the little blip.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is that pasta that you brought, the TikTok pasta?
it is the TikTok pasta. So I'm sure those of you who have been on it remember this. Even if you weren't, I literally had no idea what TikTok was really at this point in time. This has been 4 or 5 years ago, because it was during COVID. And I had a stint where I was driving for Instacart during COVID because I was so bored and there was nothing else to do. And I was like, I'm just going to go out and make some money and do Instacart. And I feel like that was like at the height of it. I wouldn't do it now. But it paid really well at the time. And I mean, you could make decent money working 3 hours a day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was shopping for somebody and they wanted block of feta, and they were out of blocks of feta, so I messaged the person I was shopping for. I was like, hey, they're out of blocks of feta, and I had asked an employee, like, do you have any of this in the back? And she's like, oh no, everybody's getting it for that TikTok pasta, we can't keep it in stock. And I'm like, okay. So I texted the person and was like, hey, I asked an employee to, she said they're out because of the TikTok pasta. She goes, that's what I wanted it for. So, anyway,
It is good pasta.
years later, after it wasn't a thing anymore, I was like, oh, hey, I wonder what that was about. Looked up the recipe, made it. It's delicious.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It's delicious, and it's super, super easy.
Nice.
Highly recommend. And quite frankly, for like a creamy, cheesy pasta, feta, it's relatively healthy.
Nice.
It's not terrible. So, anyway.
I love how on trend you are. 2 years later, I decided to make the
That's
pasta.
right. Don't think I won't be trendy. It'll just be
Yeah.
2 years post the trend.
I'm
good.
here for that.
Yeah. I feel like that's very millennial coded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
That's right.
I am on my own timeline. Thank you very much.
That's right.
All right.
Do you have any catch-up stuff?
Not a ton. I can talk about this album I've been listening to. We went and saw Japanese Breakfast.
We saw Japanese Breakfast at the
Grand Falloon. Yeah.
Yes.
They're one of my faves. They have a new album out, and I have been listening to it
Nice.
nonstop. For Melancholy Brunettes, I think is what it's called. I can't remember, something like that, but it's really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my only experience with them was that one performance, which was good.
Yeah. I love the tone of her voice. I think is really cool. And I want to read her book, too, which is supposed to be a really good book called Crying in H Mart.
Nice.
Do you know what H Mart is?
No.
It's a like a
Like a
really
Kmart,
popular
or?
chain of Asian supermarkets.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about grieving the death of her mother. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I might add that to
Interesting.
my list of books. Oh, one of my resolutions this year was to read more fiction, just for enjoyment. So I really want to read this book called James by Percival Everett. He wrote the novel that the movie American Fiction was based off of. Did you ever watch that?
I don't think so.
It was so good. It was nominated for Best Picture, didn't win, but it did win Best Screenplay. His most recent book is a reimagining of Huckleberry Finn. And it's from the perspective of Jim, his friend.
Okay.
But I really want to read it. It's supposed to be really good, but I've never read Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I mean, I know the story basically just
Yeah.
because it's so, popular. So I'm going to read that
First.
and then I'm going to read James. I'm really excited.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah.
But it's just one that I never really read it in school, so it just kind of passed by. I mean, I did see Huck.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Of course.
So
How can I forget about that?
So I pretty much know what happens. But
Yeah, I mean, I know the story as told by JTT.
Very good recounting of,
Yes.
of the tale.
Yeah, that's a good one. I am so excited to read all of those books with my kids. I keep waiting. I really want to read. I think she's almost old enough, but I forget how sad it is. Where the Red Fern Grows.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love so much.
It's a heartbreaker. Didn't you guys read Charlotte's Web already?
We did Charlotte's Web, and then we did Stuart Little.
Mm.
And Stuart Little
Not for you?
doesn't slap like I remember.
Oh, no. See,
Charlotte's Web, fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're the same author, E.B. White. Stuart Little, quite frankly, it was just strange.
Yeah, I didn't read that one as a kid, and it was one that I was never really, drawn to either.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember loving it when I was a kid. I remember my grandma reading it to me. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just didn't hit the same. She liked it, though, so fine.
Yeah.
Right now we're reading Harry Potter.
Are you already?
Yeah,
Nice.
so we read Sorcerer's Stone and then watched the movie. Right now we're on Chamber of Secrets. So we'll see how far we can go with that, because it starts to get scary with the Dementors, which I think is the next book.
Yeah.
So
Does she love him?
Yeah. So far, she really likes them. So we'll see how it goes.
I really loved Bridge to Terabithia when I was little, too.
I don't think I read that one.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Is that part of Narnia? No.
No, but it's
Similar,
has
the same
kind
genre
fantasy
kind of
element
thing.
to it,
Yeah. So anyway, getting into the chapter books has been
that's
fun.
huge.
We did watch Wicked.
Oh, did you like it?
So I watched the first 7 minutes and I was like, eh. And then I went and cleaned up the kitchen and did some other things. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So
I think that's fair.
But the kids watched about half of it. It's very long.
It is long.
2 hours and 40 minutes. So they watched half, and then we'll watch the other half next week.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like, this is the best thing ever.
Right.
It was just fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
If you want
I think it's
if you want to have a fine time,
yeah.
watch Wicked.
I also feel like it was just one of those shows that I kind of missed. I feel like you had to really be into the theatrical production of it.
Yeah.
And that time it came out and it was so huge. I kind of missed that one, so.
Yeah, and we don't have we have the university, so things come through, but it's not like we live in New York.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you know what I'm dying to see is Oh Mary. It's this now Broadway production. It started off Broadway and was such a hit. It's this guy, Cole Escola, who is a really funny, hilarious comedian, and he does this one-woman show as Mary Todd Lincoln, and it's her perspective of being Abraham Lincoln's wife and his passing. It's supposed to be really good. I'm dying to see it. It's supposed to be kind of sexual too, and a little deviant, you know?
Yeah.
He's completely made a false character out of Mary Todd Lincoln.
Right.
He's come up with this personality that she didn't have.
Right, and how could we even really know anyway? Because nobody was letting women say anything then.
Yeah.
So we have no idea.
Right.
We gotta make it up.
Oh, yeah. So it's supposed to be so funny. I would love to go see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, let's get into the reality.
Okay, so I think this could be fun. We talked about this offline a little bit about doing a pop culture queen of the month.
Yeah.
We recently listened to Bozoma Saint John from Beverly Hills Housewives on the Bravo Hot Mic podcast, and we were just both so inspired by the interview. It kind of sparked this idea of having a featured pop culture queen of the month. So that might be something we play around with. Maybe we do it this once and we never do it again. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But this month, for April, it is going to be Bozoma Saint John. This is her first season on Beverly Hills, and I feel like she is just such a breath of fresh air in terms of Housewives, because she has had such an amazing, successful corporate career, which is not something we see a lot with the casting of Housewives, right? And that's not to say that they're not people who are successful, but it is usually, especially Beverly Hills, sort of like in the Hollywood industry, or, you know, with New York, Jenna Lyons would be the only example I can think of. And that was, even though it was a corporate career, it was still like fashion adjacent. We see people who have maybe had a following on social media or do have some kind of brand they're trying to promote, but this just felt very different. She is very much a presence. She's had a successful career with Netflix, with Uber. I mean, just very high up, very impressive resume.
Yeah, really intelligent. She also brings emotional maturity.
Yes.
That, you know, I feel like on The Housewives, we watch them grow and mature, like, through the show.
Right.
And she kind of came in just
with
like, I know who I am. I know how to handle situations. I'm very self-assured.
Self-aware.
Yeah. And I am also incredibly emotionally mature. I know how to handle confrontation, just handle relationships in general, which I think is needed, kind of.
Yes.
Like, you kind of need that ringleader a little bit in the group.
Absolutely.
And yeah, Beverly Hills didn't really have that, I don't think.
No, and
I don't know if any of them really have it.
I don't think so, no. And I think part of it is The Housewives is not a draw to people with Boze's resume and background. Yeah. And they even talked about the Hot Mic podcast is hosted by Alex Baskin, who's a producer on the Housewife franchises and several other Bravo reality shows. And he even alludes to, why do you want to do this? Yeah. I mean, he was kind of like...
I think that's the question she gets the most.
Right.
Like, why are you on Housewives? Most people go there to, like, build a career or, you know, grow their business.
Right, or really have an interest in being on television. And typically people who have an interest in being on television aren't people who have had a very decorated career in business, you know? And, yeah, so a couple of takeaways from the podcast. One of the things she said that really stood out to me is when she's talking about in her different roles in her career, she said, nobody was talking about me until I started talking about me. And she said, being a woman in business and taking credit for your accomplishments and being loud about it is important because nobody else will. And women are expected to just kind of like stay quiet, do the work, and hope for the promotion. And she's like, you really need to just take it for yourself. Yeah. You know, because other people will take credit for your wins. So I thought that was just, I never really heard anyone say it like that. Like, nobody was talking about me until I started talking about me.
Yeah, I feel like that's what resonated the most with me in the interview, which is funny because in so many points I was like, man, is she talking about my life? All the things I'm struggling with right now. And it's true. It's so hard to quote unquote market yourself, you know, and it's because I feel like we're taught as women to just be humble constantly and be grateful. Those are the only things we can be. Yeah. We're never taught to be proud.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And yeah, she put it very plainly. And she does it in such a way, it's not nauseating. No. She does not come off as pompous. You know, she was on the Jimmy Fallon show. I saw this clip and he was like, you look so beautiful. And she was like, I know. And it was cheeky and cute and it didn't come off badly. You know? So I think she does a really good job of being proud and a badass and not being, you know, overconfident.
Right. Another thing that she mentioned that also resonated with me in terms of being a mother is she was talking about at one point showing up somewhere to do an interview or something with her corporate job. And she was wearing maybe like a low-cut shirt, and maybe it was like a bright color, and she had her natural hair, and somebody said something like, should you be wearing that? And she was saying, I'm going to show up and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to do the job, but I'm going to show up as me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pave the way for other people to do the same. She was like, how can I be me at home with my 15-year-old daughter and then have her watch me go out into the world and be somebody completely different?
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is so refreshing and empowering. Like, yes, like women shouldn't be afraid to be themselves and be put into this box of what you think you're supposed to be in a corporate setting.
Yeah, and it's great. I feel like so many times as women, I know I do this, I have all these thoughts and I think all these things, but putting them into action is so much harder.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to have a brave person step up and be like, yeah, I'm just going to do the thing that I think so many women want to do,
right?
But it's hard to be the first one,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
We need people like that,
yeah, to
go out and blaze the trail.
Exactly.
You know?
And just the fact that making a choice about what you wear or how you do your hair or color, it has nothing to do with how well you're going to do the job, too.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, as a parent, you want to be that example for your kids, especially with daughters, where it's like you're allowed to take up space.
Yeah.
You know, and you're allowed to be you, and that shouldn't dictate what people think about how you can show up for something.
Right. She's got great style too.
She has great style. Her house is amazing. Yeah. I love the wallpaper.
So colorful, vibrant, yeah.
And another thing she said, you have to live your life for yourself. No one else is going to do that for you. And she was talking about how there's too many people walking around as consequences to somebody else's unfulfilled life. Mm. Of course, we make sacrifices as women with families. And like we've talked a lot about how you can't have it all. It's really hard to have it all. But she was talking about people being told, you better go out and like do this because I couldn't do it. And she was talking about how I don't want to put that on anyone, let alone my children.
Right.
And yeah, I do think sometimes women do get criticized, I think, sometimes for putting themselves first.
Oh, 100%.
When they have families.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to fill your cup. And you should be filling your cup not just so you have a cup to pour from, too,
right,
but also because
you're still a person.
You're still a person. Yeah, exactly.
You deserve, just because you have children doesn't mean that you suddenly don't deserve happiness and care.
And I do think if you're truly living your life for yourself and like what you want out of it, that's how you achieve contentedness.
Yeah.
You know, and not enough of us are doing that.
No.
And it's easier said than done, I think. But she just was very insightful.
Yeah. And just fun. She's just like super funny, and you know, she talks about really serious things and is straightforward, but she's not a downer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, she's very enjoyable to listen to.
If you're feeling like you want a little inspiration, it was a really great listen. I recommend to anyone.
She's writing a book too. Where is her memoir out? I think she's.
I don't think it's out yet.
Yeah.
I think
I can't remember if she said it's out not yet or not.
And that was another thing. And we kind of talked about this in the beginning when she first came on the show. We're like, what is she doing here?
Right.
You know? And I think we talked about that in a reality check episode early on. Like, what is going on here? Why would she want to do this? And she did say that when she left the corporate world, it was because she had started to write her memoir. And she knew she couldn't publish the memoir and still be in that role.
Right.
And she's like, I had these conversations with my boss. We knew, like, you know, that eventually it was going to come to an end. And yeah, it sounds like she was just looking for a new chapter. Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the privilege of working hard and having the option and opportunity to say, hey, because of my hard work, I now have the choice to not work and write this book. You know? That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so moving into Denise Richards and her wild things. I did watch the Nose Job episodes, so I just had some thoughts on that. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I hadn't seen them yet. I just think it's really cool that she decided to share it on the show. And I feel like it's a complicated topic for me in terms of plastic surgery with celebrities and whether or not they choose to talk about it. It's a tough one because I'm very supportive of people having the freedom and the ability to do whatever they want to do and change things about themselves if that's what they want. I feel like where it gets complicated with celebrities and these people that have a platform, you know, these are the people that are setting the standards for what women see and what young girls, young people see and think is attainable. And I don't think necessarily anyone owes the world all of the details, but I feel like if you are somebody who has had extreme work or augmentation done, you've had a facelift, you've had a nose job, you've had implants, I do feel like there's a small fiduciary responsibility of these people to be a little bit candid about it. I'm not saying you have to go and say every procedure that you've ever had done, but if you've had a facelift and you're sitting there saying that you've never had any work done and that you're just putting olive oil on your skin, that's where it becomes a slippery slope to me, because now you have people looking at you going, well, what's wrong with me that I can't, so if I just put olive oil on my skin, now you're acting like this is accessible and attainable.
Well, and you're lying. And
Yeah.
You're trying to fool people. You're trying to say, like, no, this is what which it's just like, what's the point of that? I also think it's wild. I don't think people should be asking, have you had work done? I think that's,
I know, but they do.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not your point, but I also feel like, not that these people are journalists, really.
It depends, yeah.
But,
as we've discussed, it depends.
You know, but I also think, like, that's a rude question to ask people. You shouldn't be asking people. It's what kind of work they had done.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, you shouldn't be lying about it either, I don't think. You know, just...
Right. Again, that adds another layer of complexity to it where it's like, yeah, do I think these people owe an explanation for everything? No, right. I don't. I just feel like when you go into an industry, you're going to be an actor, an actress, you're going to be a model, and you're being kind of the face of beauty standards, whether you choose that or not, you kind of know going in that that's going to be part of it.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a small amount of responsibility. And I think most people understand that these people have resources and things that we don't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's complicated how I really feel about what they should be saying, what they don't need to say. And I just thought it was really cool of Sami to be so open about it and share it and say, yeah, I didn't like this about myself, so I changed it.
Yeah.
And I went to a surgeon and I had a rhinoplasty and I changed it. Mm-hmm. And now when young girls or boys, whoever sees that, they know, like, oh, it was a surgical augmentation to get there. This isn't, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's admirable.
I do too, and I feel like it's the healthiest way, you know,
Yeah.
like, I feel like so much of this is wrapped up in shame. Like, women are ashamed of the way they look, mm-hmm. but then, so they do these procedures, but then they also have to be ashamed of getting the procedure.
Right.
It's just so fucked.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you can't get away from it.
No,
Nothing
I
you
know.
do is right.
Yeah.
It's just like a catch-22, and I know it, and then it's so complicated for me too, because I have such mixed feelings about it, because I feel like everyone should have the right to do whatever they want with their body. I wasn't happy with the way I looked. I did something to make myself feel better about it.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah.
But it does, at the same time, make me sad that so many women feel like they have to look a certain way to be truly happy with themselves. But at the same time, we do. So, you know, it's like, so what, you know, it's that, I feel like it's that unanswerable question. Like, I don't know if I'll ever finally feel like I know the right way to think about it.
I know. And there may not be a right way to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, truly. It's
Right.
I know.
But I do feel like if you are a celebrity, there should be some transparency. I feel like that's the right thing to do.
I do too.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anybody any favors.
Right.
If you're like, no.
And especially when they're selling something.
Oh, for sure.
If you're selling a skincare line or you're pushing a product on people, you know, like, okay, so I'm just using her as an example because she has a skincare line. But Cindy Crawford. Now, I have no idea if she's had work done. I have no idea if she's ever been asked about it, what she said about it publicly. I don't know. But I feel like it would be irresponsible to be selling a product that's promising certain results and you have been point blank asked, have you had work done? And you say no, and that's a lie.
Yeah.
Then I feel like it's a problem.
Oh, yeah. That's not right.
Right.
to do.
The problem is that we wouldn't feel this way if we hadn't created this through our culture and society. And I think that's what really it comes down to, is how to separate what we truly feel and want from the expectations and the standards set.
And I feel like you're chasing something you're never going to achieve.
You're never going to achieve perfection.
I feel like you're never going to achieve full beauty,
No.
you know, or like be fully satisfied, especially if you start on that path of like, you know, you're just never going to be satisfied.
No.
And I kind of think about it like when I'm hopefully an old woman and I'm dying and I'm looking back on my life, am I going to be satisfied? Am I going to be upset with myself that like I spent my entire life just
chasing a
desperate to be beautiful and doing all of
these,
spending all of this money and all this time caring so much about the way I look.
Right.
I don't know if I will.
Yeah.
I don't know if I will be happy about that.
I know.
But, you know, yeah. So, I mean, to people who do, I mean, no judgment. Do whatever makes you happy in your life. Everyone has to decide that for themselves, you know? But I think for me, I don't know if that's what is going to do it for me, you know?
Yeah.
No,
I know.
Yeah, and I think people do need to know, like, you're not ugly or poor.
Yes.
You know, we've said that
Exactly.
before on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's true.
You're poor and you're manipulated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway, I don't know how
I feel like we talk about it a lot, and I never leave the conversations, like, with a...
feeling like we've made any progress.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't know if I ever will.
Sorry to be a huge bummer to everyone.
No, but I think
we have no answers.
I think these are good conversations to have.
Of course.
You know, we got to talk about it, but I don't think I'll ever be, what's the word I'm looking
satisfied?
for? Yeah, with a
or
conclusion.
feel like there's closure.
Closure, yeah.
Yeah, no.
But
nope.
it's awesome being a woman. I guess men deal with it too, whatever,
Yeah.
but not the same.
Yes, they do for sure to an extent.
Yeah.
Anyway, stay tuned. Stay tuned for more on that. Okay, let's move into the episodes because we've been really yapping a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the two most recent episodes of Beverly Hills. Not really much happened in the finale, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what finales are on those shows. They have to, like,
Has to
sum
be like
it up.
like it's always ends like harmoniously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one definitely did feel like the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Because so much went down that, like, wasn't really resolved.
And like just felt very brushed under the rug for the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
For sure.
obviously was intentional, I suppose. This is the last night in St. Lucia. Is that where they were?
Yeah.
St. Lucia. So they did the dinner on the beach, which was really cool. I thought Bose did a great job putting that together. Yeah.
The costumes were really cool too.
Yes, they were. That's
those
right.
were all like custom made.
Yeah. That was really the most exciting part of the finale.
Yeah, nothing really happened.
Yeah, I mean, Erica, there was a whole, like, you thought the dinner was going to be explosive. Because I think I texted you and was like, oh, I love a big blow-up fight in full costume.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
'cause
I
it's
know. I
always
was like,
funnier
whoa.
when they're, like, all
Yeah.
decked out in these costumes. And then literally nothing happened.
Yeah.
And Erica said whatever about, so which one of you said that we said it was a setup?
Oh, yeah, I know. I really thought that was going to go somewhere.
And then it didn't.
And it didn't.
And it was actually, like, a pretty level-headed conversation.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
yeah, all right.
All right, fine.
I guess it's good that you guys are growing.
Yeah. So that was really about it with the finale. And then first episode of the reunion, There was that conversation between Dorit and Kyle was interesting about Kyle saying she felt like Dorit's sort of personality change this season was just like a ploy to keep her job.
Or it's just like, yeah, Dorit, I didn't know. I don't know this person.
Right. But then particularly her saying about it being to keep her job, and Dorit saying whatever she said about knowing executives and you knew I had been asked back. And Kyle, she alluded to the fact that she like knew something Dorit didn't know. Because she just was like, well,
it got weird. Like, her silence was saying something. Yeah, you know, like the fact that she didn't say anything said a lot. It was just like, but what exactly? Yeah, I feel like there's some insider tea that we don't know.
I think so too, because it was definitely a little strange.
Yeah.
And then just Garcelle being in the hot seat.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of weak sauce. I mean, I don't think she anticipated anyone confronting her about anything.
No, she thought it was would she say she thought it was going to be Sutton?
Yeah, which it will.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, that's coming.
We'll get there, yeah.
But, I mean, I think she handled it well on stage. I was surprised at, like, the backstage clips.
Yeah.
I bet she was, like, really pissed off and kind of hurt. It's like, well, welcome to the big show, you know? Like, that's what they've all been through.
She's always dishing it all the time.
Exactly.
She's always inserting herself and trying to make sort of the devil's advocate statement or opinion, inserting herself into everything else.
No problem calling people out.
Right.
But she can't take it.
But she struggled, yeah. And I think even on the couch,
she buckled a couple times. It was just like, okay, I'm sorry. You could tell that she was just like, oh, wow, I'm not used to this. I don't really know how to handle it. She did not clap back as much as I thought she was going to, which maybe she just like realized finally that like, oh, maybe I was out of line. Because the accusations about Dorit's break-in are wild.
They are insane.
Like, you got to keep that. If that's truly how you feel, you keep that to yourself.
She was held at gunpoint.
I know. Like, what do you really think? And her alluding the whole like, oh, I don't think Dorit had anything to do with it, but like somebody did. Well, like, then who?
It?
Say what you're trying to say what you mean.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't them, then who?
Yeah, it's almost like she was trying to backtrack without fully just saying, oh, I was wrong.
I was just being mean.
I was just
I was just trying to hurt her.
Because, what are you trying to say? That PeeKay arranged it? Like, that's his family. Yeah. You know?
I mean, like, you know that's not true.
Right.
Come on.
No.
That's a wild thing for anybody to do.
And then I was surprised by Andy kind of chiming in and being like, well, I think she's referring to it being strange about the cell phone. Okay, can we just move on from that?
Yeah. But I mean, that's a big accusation. If you're going to say that out loud, you better be ready to back it up.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a huge accusation.
Yes. Yeah, and it would still be shitty. It would be different if, like, it was a break-in that happened when they weren't there and stuff.
Right.
But she was home with her children and was held at gunpoint.
Yeah.
You don't make accusations like that you know nothing about.
Yeah, especially, like she said, without any proof. Just your instinct. Well, then shut up about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was where I felt like that she did get squirmy on the couch because she's like, you have no evidence or proof of it, so like, why would you? And then her like, well, just my instinct.
Yeah, it's you want it to be true,
right?
It's just something you want to be true, so you have a reason to hate Dorit,
right?
Or another reason,
right?
Yeah,
that was
and you know what is also really funny that I didn't put together till Garcelle even pointed it out about herself, that everyone gave them a hard time about being friends, Garcelle and Sutton, and now she's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're a hypocrite. Get out of here.
I was thinking that not the whole season, but I was thinking that as soon as she kind of made it known that she thought Sutton was sucking up to Kyle, and it's like, well, you're doing the same thing that everybody's been doing to you.
I know.
And I mean, she kept saying that, like that seemed to be her response to everything, was like, no, that's what you guys have been doing to us. And it's like, right, but they're trying to make the point now that you're doing it.
Yeah.
So like, I do feel like we got a little more clarity from what Boz said about, her relationship with Keely and then wanting to have a baby. It did seem like she is just not done with her baby journey.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot more sense than like putting all of the eggs in Keely's basket, so to speak. I'm glad to hear that it's not something she's doing because she wants to be with him and like that's what he wants.
Right. Yeah.
I want it to be because it's what she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that is the case.
Yeah.
It sounds like
it. Yeah. So.
And I hope Keely works out.
And didn't she say that did she say they'd found a surrogate if it doesn't work out, or am I thinking of something else?
No, I think they did.
Okay.
So she did say they were going to try to do it naturally, but if not, they have a surrogate.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, and then Erica calling Garcelle
uninteresting.
That was kind of mean.
That was kind of mean.
It's kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think it was one of those situations where she didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And then she just said the first thing that popped in her head.
That's sure more interesting.
Yeah.
That would hurt.
Yeah. And, I mean, now we know what we know, that Garcelle's left the show, which isn't entirely surprising to me. Her career has really taken off, her film career. I mean, she's been directing and producing movies and starring in them, too, and I think that's really taken off. So.
Yeah, but I wonder how much this reunion had to do with it.
Yeah.
I feel like she probably would have come back.
Maybe,
I feel like it almost feels like she was so slighted, which is kind of weak because it wasn't that bad. Other people have had it much, much worse.
I'm assuming she left of her own accord.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Okay, I mean, sometimes it's a little unclear in the beginning, and then you find out later that actually somebody was fired. So we'll see, but it sounds like as of now she's left of her own doing. So
I am so curious to see what happens with Sutton though, the next one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How that's going to go
I'm
down.
interested to get into the wallet comment and all of that. And
I know.
I hope they bring Jennifer Tilly out.
Me too. Oh, they're definitely going to. Oh, and then the PeeKay statement.
Oh, God.
That was
hard to listen to.
Also, I'm surprised they, slapped her with it. Like, she hadn't heard it.
Right.
She was hearing it live right then. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That marriage is over for sure.
For sure. Yeah. They've lost respect for one another, I think. And once that happens.
Well, shots fired by Doree. I mean, she was saying some pretty harsh things.
The fact that she said he was a bad father.
Yeah.
You could tell from the statement that was what really, I think, hurt him, which would
that's
anybody.
A low blow.
And here's the thing. As somebody who has a husband and children, and I mean, I don't know what it's like to go through a divorce, and I don't know what it's like to live your life in the public eye, but I would almost be willing to bet that for most people, even if he was not the best dad, you wouldn't say that publicly.
Because like he said, your children are going to see this at some point.
Exactly, yeah.
You know? And like you're working so hard to like be cool with each other in front of your kids, but you're going on national television and saying shit about their father. Like, how do you, those two don't align.
No.
Yeah, and then the whole talking about his alcoholism, like,
it's not her thing to talk about.
Just like,
I mean, it's one thing, and she said that she had his permission to talk about it, which, I mean, we don't know what those conversations were like.
But she was talking disparagingly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was like, he is struggling with alcoholism and he's getting the help he needs. No, she was like, he's an alcoholic.
Right. And she
it's
very much
marriage.
alluded to the fact that was the breakdown in the marriage.
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
Yeah. Well, and she made it sound like that was the one and only reason.
Right.
You know, and there are, I'm sure, many layers to why their relationship did not work out.
So anyway.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised at how, like, she didn't really apologize for any of that. And she kind of stood behind all the things she said.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this is a different Doree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised she didn't walk back the bad dad comment. And maybe we'll get there. We have 2 more episodes of the reunion. Who knows? Yeah. But that one felt icky. I don't...
Yeah.
You know, Andy had asked, do you think your fame, you know, changed things? And it was funny to kind of see the other women like roll their... Did you notice that? Like they panned and they're like, oh God, like as if she's not famous now. Like, you all are to an extent, you know? And she said maybe, you know, that he had a hard time dealing with that. And he even got specific enough as to say, like, the fashion and the glam, like, is that something that you think contributed to his evolving opinion of you or whatever. And,
I mean, even all of the Housewives have had issues with it over the years.
Yeah.
You know? Because it is like, it's a lot. And
well, and I think it would be difficult as a partner to have your partner change in that way to where all of a sudden, they're traveling with a glam squad. It's all this glamazon, like,
so
fashion.
High maintenance.
So high,
nothing's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just be so focused on that, you do probably lose sight of who you are.
Yeah.
A little
well,
bit.
even like, this is a funny example. Even their anniversary thing. The anniversary thing PeeKay planned was ridiculous and so weird. And I would have been like, gross, what is this?
Yeah.
But it's the way she was annoyed.
The fact that she couldn't even appreciate it.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. The outfit wasn't what she would pick. It was just like...
Who cares?
Yeah, like he's trying to do something nice.
Right.
As off-kilter as it is.
Right.
But yeah, that would get to me.
Absolutely.
That would be a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And talk about expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, money problems are like the biggest reason divorces happen.
And I get that the show pays them well and they have these other things and like they're all probably doing pretty well, but glam squads, all those people on staff, that's expensive, and I would be willing to bet that the majority of these women are living well beyond their means, even with the paycheck from the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And it's one thing, because Andy did put it like, you know, the glam, the fashion, that's what makes you happy. Because it is, you know, and on one hand, it's like, yes, I really love clothes and fashion, and this is what I choose to spend my time and money on. But I think within reason, and there's got to be a balance between, you know, that and your relationship. And especially if that's not who you were when you evolved into that. That could be hard to accept.
Swallow.
Yeah.
And I wonder, too, with the whole anniversary thing, like, would she have reacted that way if he hadn't chosen to do it on camera?
Yeah.
I wonder how much that has to do with it, too.
How she's presenting. And
yeah. You know, Kyle has never had a glam squad.
Yeah.
She's never traveled with a glam squad. She still doesn't.
Oh, no? Who's always doing her makeup?
I think when she's at home, she has somebody, but like when they travel, she doesn't.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah, that's a lot to travel with the whole team.
Right.
That's
So,
a lot.
I mean, I think Kyle's a good example of somebody who balances that part of it well.
Yeah.
And some of them just really go full into that.
Yeah.
And then
but you know, like Erica does the same thing, but it's not as annoying when she does it for some reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, why is it different with Dorit?
Right.
You know? So I feel like Erica has this like persona and this...
Erica will also film stripped down though.
Yeah.
And I have never seen Dorit not made up.
No.
Even when you go into her house, like, because Erica has filmed in her home. One example that's coming up for me is when she was Zooming with her therapist and she was completely barefaced and her hair was just up in a bun. I feel like she will film stripped down, whereas Dorit, I don't think I have ever seen her.
Dorit almost gives off this, like, I want everyone to think this is just
I wake up
who
like
I am.
this.
Yeah. Where Erica's definitely like, no, this is like my persona.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm Erica Jane. This is like a character.
It's a character.
And it's fun, and I do this, and it's my stage presence.
Right.
And
if you went on a trip with Erica, not filming, Erica would just roll out of bed and go to the pool. Dorit 100% would not.
No, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's the little bit of difference there. I don't know. Of course, we don't know these people at all, but...
Right. But, you know, that's what they're giving. That's what the show is about.
Right.
Making wild judgments about these people that we don't know.
That's right. Okay. Well, we had a whole, like, topic that we were going to get into, but I think we're going to have to save that for another episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Grapes and gripes?
Sure.
Okay. So, my gripe is... when you read something, you read an article, you listen to a podcast because you want to find out about something and you read it or you listen to it and you're like, I totally get this. Like, I get it now. It makes sense. But then if somebody asked you about it an hour later, you literally couldn't regurgitate one word. Like, I have no idea. The example I'm going to use is cryptocurrency and blockchain technology.
Well, that's a very complicated one.
Well,
yeah.
I know, but and this has actually been years ago when I worked in banking and like it first kind of became popular, and we had clients that were talking about investing in it, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to like at least have a basic understanding of what this is. And I read this article about blockchain and like how it's mined and all that stuff. And like that really the valuable thing behind it is the technology. And I was like, I totally get it. Like this makes perfect sense. And then like 2 hours later, one of the other employees at the bank was like, oh, tell me about it. And I was like,
crap. Didn't think you were going to ask me that.
I go, I literally can't tell you one thing. I feel like I understand it, but I couldn't tell you one thing.
I do the same thing, like, any books I've read. If somebody asked me to, like, summarize the book,
I have
I'd be
no
like,
idea.
oh, I sort of don't remember. Plus, summarizing is hard.
I know.
You know? I could be like, I get into way too much detail, and then I'm like, oh, man, no. In a nutshell, though, yeah, no.
So anyway, that's a gripe. It's almost like when you have a dream and you remember it so well when you first wake up, and then as the day goes on, it kind of fades away, and then you kind of, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, anyway. If you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right. My grape is going to, this is very niche and strange, but like it always makes me smile a little bit because I feel like it's so universal. I feel like you could go to anyone's house. Your mom, your friend, you could be like babysitting, it could be their house. If you go into their first aid area or where they keep their medicine and their Band-Aids and bandages, there's always going to be at least one Band-Aid from like 1985. You know what I mean? This was going to be like the one Band-Aid, like how long has this been in here?
The paper's like really crinkly.
Yeah, and it's like the old logo, and it's like, Anyway, I just feel like that could happen in anyone's house, and
for sure.
Once you have kids, you use Band-Aids more, and I just feel like I've stumbled upon it a few times in the last like few years, and I'm always like, there's the one Band-Aid.
Band-Aid. Not using that one.
That's right. And that's why it's been there for so long.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a really interesting observation. Very true. I think everyone knows. Okay, my grape, this kind of relates to the topic.
Is your stomach growling?
Really threw me off.
Good thing we got that TikTok pasta.
Really threw me off for a second. I don't like the term girl's girl. This is maybe controversial. I get what it's supposed to mean.
Right.
That it's like...
It's not on my Instagram bio.
Uh-huh. It is or isn't? It is? Oh. Sorry.
It's okay. I've contemplated taking it off like 100 times, and I'm like, well...
I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong. I just feel like it gets misused.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it started out as a good thing, and now people use it as like, you're not a girl's girl.
Right.
Well, it's like, what is a girl's girl, first of all? And it's like the women supporting women, again, a good thing.
Right.
In theory, but it also, where do we draw the line?
I know.
You know, like, how do we support women? What women...
Right, because just like... not all men deserve to be supported. Not all women deserve to be supported. No, I know.
Bad things. They should not be supported in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like now...
But the general concept of it is positive.
Yeah, and I get that.
It is hard. I totally agree. I get what you're saying.
But I feel like it's like any good thing. It gets bastardized and turned into something terrible. Right. And now we're at that phase where it's just like... anytime you hear it now, it's an accusation of you're not a girl's girl.
Right.
And it's like, well, how am I not being
right,
a girl's
because I'm
girl?
not supporting your bad behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're a girl.
I also feel like we do this to ourselves as women too, which is a patriarchal thing, that we set these standards for each other.
Right.
And hold each other to these impossible standards. Why? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
You know? Like, let's just let us be who we are.
Yeah.
You know? Support each other that way.
Yeah, how about I'm a good person's good person.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean...
you can put that on your Instagram.
I'm changing it right now. It says... And this is another thing that I also don't really like, that I feel the same way about that you feel about girl's girl, but it's also on my Instagram profile, is girl mom and boy mom.
Right.
We're just moms.
Exactly, yeah.
But at the end of the day... we would be remiss to think that it's not fundamentally different raising boys and girls, because it is.
Right.
And I realize that's layered also because I'm talking about like identifying as a boy or a girl,
Right.
and that can look different.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't sit here and pretend like it's the same, but we also can't. We're also contributing to the dichotomy by
Right.
making these labels.
To the binary.
Yes, so it's like really
Toxic.
complicated. It's toxic.
It's so toxic.
The complexities are
really
complex.
complexing, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, use girls girl if you want. Just be mindful.
Don't
of
put
how
on your
you're
Instagram
using it.
bio. Yeah.
No, I mean I support women and I support using girls girl. I think it's become toxic.
Yeah.
But
And how do we keep anything from becoming toxic?
I know. I don't. That's the thing. I don't think we can.
I know. Here we are.
Solving none of the world's problems.
That's
But
right.
then my grape is.
Yeah, let's end on the grape, please.
Oh, my grape is to having celebrity men watch Bravo shows, and especially as guests on Watch What Happens Live.
Nice.
I think they're great guests. I love hearing their takes on things.
Michael
in a
Rappaport.
positive. Michael Rappaport. Of recent, John Oliver.
Yes.
One of the greatest.
Yes.
He was such a great guest.
Yeah.
And
if you're
John
somebody
Hamm.
who poo-poos on reality TV, you're also probably somebody who really likes John Oliver.
Yeah.
So the two can coexist.
Right. Just let yourself be entertained.
Yeah. We don't
Just
have to
enjoy
take
it.
everything so seriously.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be profound, as we have said.
Have a grain of salt and watch
Yeah.
the shows.
You might be
Treat
surprised.
yourself to a nice grain of salt. Yeah. So that's that.
I think that's it. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.